A $250,000 donation to the Town of Winchester Fire Department. So I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? We're now in the public hearing, and Chief Kellum, would you please just give a brief summary of the donation?
Good evening. So as you stated, it's a donation of $250,000 from a generous person. And what we're looking to do with that is purchase a medium-duty rescue truck with that. We actually have one in mind. We've actually gone down and looked at it. And then whatever money's remaining left over, we look at purchasing a in-house compressor system to fill the Cascade system or our Scott bottles for our air packs. And then if there's anything left there, it's just any other little equipment that we need to do. So basically the donation is for the fire department to purchase needed equipment for us.
Nope. Does anybody from the board have any questions on this?
Nope.
Anybody from the public have any questions on the donation? Just please state your name also.
John Riddell, 19 Broadbrook Road. There are no conditions. It's not conditional anyway.
No, there's no conditions. It's
Okay.
a donation to the fire department for them to use to purchase equipment.
All right, thank you. And if the word that you didn't recognize or that was a typo could be spelled out, or you could just tell us what the word was, I would appreciate that. Other than that, thank you.
Well, the word I didn't know what it was. Do you know what that is?
Which one? Expedient.
Expedient. That one. It was more than 2 syllables. Any other questions from the public? I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? I will entertain a motion to accept the donation.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation of $250,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief, and everybody else for coming in. Thank you. And thank the donor for us. Yeah. All right, we will move on with regular business now. We do have another public hearing scheduled for 7, but because it's posted for 7, we can't start that until 7. So we'll hopefully get through some of our regular business. First is to approve the minutes from July 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. And next, we have a few oath of offices. I'll read each one of them off individual and do one motion for all of them. First, for the Thayer Library trustees, for Paul Taylor as a trustee, and then Janet Marsh as a alternate to the trustees. The next would be for the Heritage District Commission, Michael Coop and Valerie Cole and Dennis Murphy II.
I make a motion to accept all of those, Ben.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. The first one just has 2 pages. And the rest of them are 1 page each. And we have a few permits for raffle tickets. Again, I'll read them all individually, but we'll do one motion for all. First one is for Jennifer Rhodes for New Hampshire, drawing on September 13th for Smith & Wesson gun. Next one is for the VFW Auxiliary on 11/11 for a Stars and Stripes quilt.
Hey, can we go get an ice cream?
Is that the ice cream truck?
That's $1.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dennis, that's $1. You're the moderator, you know.
Kidding.
No, save it for deliberative. You already owe $1 at deliberative. And then the last one is for Santa's Helpers for August 18th for raffling off an 8-foot picnic table.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next is a land use change for the physical address is that's the mailing address. The physical address is 86 Lakeshore Drive. It's for map 11, lot 10. And it's taking the whole 0.72 acres out of current use. The total amount of that tax is $4,300.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None. Motion carries. A 1 page to sign. And we have an intent to cut that we don't need a motion on for map 7, lot 17. The access road is off of Old Hinsdale Road. We just need to sign this. And next, we have a letter that was sent to us for Dale Gray. It was sent to Carrie about Dale Gray in the Highway Department. It says, I want to thank you for your immediate response to my concern about the washout at the bottom of Fiddle Hill Road yesterday. In our short time living in Ashwaubenon, the few times we have needed the Highway Department's assistance or had questions, your response has always been professional and timely, and we appreciate it. From Michael and Jennifer Zimmerman. So thank you to them for the nice words. And in the financial folder, we have well, the first thing in here is the paperwork we need to sign for the donation we just accepted. So there's no motion needed on that. We already made the motion to accept it. And just so you know, there's 2 things to sign here. One is just a letter to the trustees explaining the donation, which is normal, and then the other one is basically a thank you letter to the anonymous donor that we will give to the legal agent for the anonymous donor, thanking them for the donation. Next in here we have a request from Mike Tollett to purchase a new radio for the cruiser. The total price for everything is $4,768.
What, do you know which cruiser that's for?
I know it's for one of the SUVs. I'm not sure which one of them.
I think it might say in his letter.
I see some numbers there, but I don't know what that really, if that had any meaning or not, then, there's like a 001,
Yeah, no, that's,
okay.
yeah, that's Southwest Mutual Aid's, that's numbers for them.
Okay.
Ben, can I see that for 1 second, please?
And what this radio is a newer, up-to-date radio to replace the older ones. And with these newer ones, they can speak from to Massachusetts and Vermont, where currently they can't because they run a different system.
We'll let them buy different radios.
Can I make a request that Jack speaks into the microphone? I can hardly hear you down here with the fans going.
I haven't said anything, yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to let you know, I can't hear you. And if I can't hear you, I'm sure nobody else can either.
Carrie, do you know what's left? I mean, we don't have last year's. Do you still have a copy of last year's budget?
Well, it's right there.
No, this is
okay.
this is the
Not
current
on
year.
hand, no.
All right.
But I can get you that. I don't
Well,
have
the
it
only
right
reason I ask is, you know, like during budgeting time, we like to look at the last couple of years on the average. We have a $6,000 line item, and this is going to take $4,700 of it. You know,
A month into the,
right, and it's going to be leaving just $1,200 for radio maintenance for the rest of the year. Now, I just wanted to know, for the last couple of years, what have we been averaging for radio maintenance?
Well, a lot of the radio maintenance type stuff and stuff like that, what we've been doing in the past is having the work done, then transferring the money from their outside activities account to reimburse the line item. They've been using their outside activities money to pay for stuff like this, radios and whatnot.
What's wrong with the current radio? Does it say why he needs a new
It's
radio?
because it's just old and outdated, and we can't talk to other states with it. We have the same problem with the fire department. We had to buy separate radios. So if we are going to Massachusetts, we have to bring a different radio with us just to talk to them, or Vermont. And these radios that he wants to buy, which are on sale right now, which is why he wants to buy one. It's $1,000 cheaper right now. He can do everything he can now, plus talk to all the other states through this one radio.
Now, we purchased one of these radios, correct?
Last year,
Last year. Right. And that was for the newest cruiser, the truck?
I believe so, yes.
Or did that come
No.
already when we bought it?
No, when
When we
bought,
outfitted it?
when we outfitted it, we had to buy one for it. So the one we bought last year was for the newest SUV that we have.
All right, so this will make 3 of the vehicles then.
Right.
Is the goal that all vehicles,
I would think theoretically it should be in all vehicles. That way, no matter what vehicle is on the road, if they're getting called into Massachusetts or Vermont, they don't have to stop at the station to switch cars to go to a different state.
this isn't something that, you know, it's not like a 2 or 3 year, I assume they're good now.
They're good for quite a while.
I understand the theory behind it. I guess the only thing I'm looking for is 2 things. One is, are we going to be overspending this early in the year for our radio maintenance? And 2 is, when did the other states change?
Quite a while ago.
All right, so what are you saying, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years?
I don't know exactly.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say is that if they changed 10 years ago and it hasn't been an issue for 10 years, why is it an issue
Well,
now?
no, it's been an issue.
Well, how did they work around it?
They had to use their cell phone and call. they had to call Massachusetts or Vermont Dispatch by cell phone before we started buying any of these newer radios.
And this is something that comes up once a year, once a month?
Oh, this is
Do we
only,
know the history of it?
this is only the third one we've bought, so.
No, he means how
No, how many
frequently-
incidents?
How frequently,
frequently these-
do they update?
No,
No,
no, no,
do
no.
they have a call
We
on
have a
state?
call.
Oh,
to another state.
I don't know. I know they go in to Mass and Vermont a lot more often than we do with the fire department, but I wouldn't dare guess how many times.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna overspend the line item because like I said, it's gonna get they always reimburse everything through the, outside activities fund.
Ben,
Well, am I reading that
Madeline has a
correctly?
question.
There's your outside activity fund, correct? Current year expenditures, balance remaining. That's in the negative. All this.
Yeah, I don't know what it's.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we put this off for a week?
Ask Mike to come in.
I believe
Or
so.
just-
I don't know how long the sale's good
I
for,
was
but
gonna say, that's the other thing. I don't want to put it off too long, but he doesn't actually have to come in. Carrie could get the information from him. Because currently,
Natalie?
I have a question, I'm sorry. Is it okay, Ben, if I ask a question?
I'll allow it as long as it's quick. We usually
No,
don't
definitely
allow
quick.
questions during.
Definitely quick, I was just wondering if the radios work the opposite way, if we need people from Mass and Vermont to come to us.
What?
Do the radios work the opposite way, if we need people from Mass and Vermont to come to us?
Yeah, we can communicate back and forth.
Yeah, okay, that was my only question.
right now, we can't.
Right, so we would be able to gain help from out of state.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
you know, I'm not completely opposed to this. I just don't want to overspend and have issues. You know, we're only 1 month into our budget. And what I was just looking out pointing to Ben is the outside activity fund right now, and I don't know why it is listed this way, but it's showing a negative number.
Probably waiting for payment so they can transfer the funds.
Right. So you know, Ben was saying that it's going to get reimbursed, but we can't reimburse it right now.
Right, but they do plenty of
So,
activities
that's,
all year long.
yeah, I know, that's
Right.
what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
So, I don't think, we'll get some questions from, Mike doesn't have to come in. I mean, Ken, if you like, but, we'll have a couple of questions for you to ask him if we can put this off for a week.
Yeah.
I just, you know, $1,200 for the rest of the year isn't much money for radio maintenance.
All right, let's table that and move on. Next, we have out of the Water Capital Reserve Fund, a payment to Lawrence Excavating for $31,657.80.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Next is out of the Culvert Repairs Fund to Frank Lucius Construction for $4,688.
I was asked, Carrie, do you know what that's about, the repairs?
There is no repair. He has to come out, part of the contract was he was supposed to come out after the winter and review and make sure everything is up to par, and then we have to pay him the remainder, which
Oh,
is
that,
before.
okay, so that's what Ben thought. All right, yep,
So moved.
thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Next is payment out of the Assessing and Reevaluation Fund to Avatar for $19,470.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Next is payment from the cemetery donation checking account to Hampshire Lumber for $3,102.75.
For,
The building.
Okay,
the building. Because we set up that donation fund
okay.
for donations to go into, we have to approve everything that comes out of it now.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Next is payment out of the revitalization funds. There's a few of them. Yeah, there's a few of them here. The first one is for $300 to Casper Bemis. Second one for $300 for Julio Del Sesto. I think that's his name. $300 to Jody Blake. $346 to Devin Snickeris, sorry. That's all of those.
I'll make a motion to approve all of those.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Next is a service agreement from Nyhart. This is what we do for our audit. One of the services we use for the audit. The recommended is a full actual update for $2,700.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. There's only room for one name, so I'll sign it. Next is for some quotes for heating fuel. All of them were asked to quote out for 25,500 gallons of fuel oil and 500 gallons of kerosene. And got Barris and Fisher came in at fuel oil 169.9, kerosene 264.9. Bob's Fuel was 149. Kerosene was 163.
163
163. That's
for
what.
kerosene?
Yep.
The other one was 264?
Yep.
Okay.
Discount oil was 149.9 and 163.9 for kerosene. Davis Oil was 175 for fuel oil and 199 for kerosene. And Cirardelli Fuel was 164.9 for fuel. They do a kerosene mix. They don't do straight kerosene. It was 219.9.
Who's our current supplier?
Discount or?
What's that?
Discount oil or this year?
This past year,
Yeah.
I believe we went with discount oil this past year.
Bob's?
Bob's?
I thought it was discount.
Maybe it was the year before we went with discount.
I think we've gone back and forth.
Right.
I mean, right now, Bob's and discount are exactly the same.
Yeah, Bob's and discount are the same,
Any
and
cheaper at Bob's, I guess, right?
they're cheaper.
10.
And they're local.
Local, yeah. I'd buy it there.
I make a motion to accept the Bob's Fuel proposal.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Everybody just has to initial it at the bottom. Next is a payment from the ambulance billing fund to CAG for $1,296.62.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. We are tabling. It's not 7 yet.
Could Dennis go through this one?
Well, I was gonna let Dean go real
Oh,
quick.
that's right, too.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Dean, you're next on the agenda.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the ATV Club is here again, real quick. Shouldn't be too difficult to figure this one out. So the next alternative is Janney Road on Old Westport Road, down to Howard Street, to Elm Street. So if you guys are okay with that, if folks are okay with that, we'll go ahead and get a letter drafted again like we did last time, and get Carrie to take a look at it, make sure it's got everything where it needs to be, and get it sent out. So the last one cost us almost $500. I'd hate to, if you guys feel that we're not going to get there, just let me know so we don't have to spend any money.
I was just gonna ask you that, Dane. Do you have an estimate on what this would cost?
Yeah, last time it was $490, something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So, because you're paying registered mail, so.
yeah.
You know.
I personally would like to see you save your money and see what we can get for an outcome when we have the state come down.
What does that pertain to? What do you mean the state come down? What's that
Well,
mean?
we're hoping to have Mr. Gamache himself come down and talk to us.
What are you anticipating to come out of that?
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you. But if we don't ask, we'll never know.
All right, so,
Well, I've had a couple of people tell me that Janney Road would probably be a way better alternative, and why that wasn't being used to begin with.
because there's a long distance of road of asphalt, and it's just wear and tear on the machines.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing, so, and it gives an opportunity for, just to beat the hell out of your machine and wear the tires off of it, so that's why we really didn't want to pick that in the first place. But coming out of Old Chesterfield Road, you're leaving a parking lot. Most people come park at that parking lot and ride out of there to ride in the park. They're not going to turn around and just ride down to town to turn around and go back to that parking lot. So it's, I'd rather not kind of go to that route if we don't have to right now. But definitely the Janney Road, and we're working with the landowners on the Janney Road to actually maybe possibly do some ATV riding in there, So.
Now, my only concern, Dean, in the wake of what's happened the last 2 weekends in the park, and again, nothing against you or the club, I'm a little hesitant to open up town roads to...
That has nothing to do with, that was people going too fast. One of
Yeah, I
them without a
understand- I
helmet, the other
understand
one
that.
killed himself.
I
right?
understand that,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't want to, I hate to see that happen on a town road, is my point.
Well, wouldn't we all, right? It's a
Yeah.
tragedy, and it's terrible that happened to the families and the individual, So when is Mr. Gamache coming? I know it's a 7 o'clock appointment here real quick, but when is he coming down here, Mr. Gamache?
Oh, Mr. Gamache, we actually have not even reached out to him because we're hoping to get some of this other stuff cleaned up. We have, 2 public hearings tonight. Jenny, when we have our next work session with you? Next week. So, we'll probably, I know that you'd like to have something in place this year, but we're personally, I would, if we could get him down here sometime this fall.
Well, I'll
and
be
start
happy.
Start the process.
Why don't I work with Carrie and I'll talk to Chris. I talk to him monthly anyways, and see if he's interested in coming
Please.
down to see and answer some questions. Maybe in the meantime, you guys can get together and think of what some questions would be that I could have him prepare himself for when he come to speak.
Well,
You know?
Dean, you may already know this answer. Now, we all know originally when the rails were bought, they were for non-motorized vehicles, period.
Yep, true.
How did the Snowmobile Association or clubs or whatever, how were they to be successful petitioning the state to get use?
They were part of the organization that was at the table at the time and Chris was instrumental in putting all that together. There really wasn't ATVs at that time. There was dirt bikes, right? But who came to the table were walkers, bikes, bicycle people, equestrian people, and the snowmobile clubs.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of snowmobile clubs back then. So that was who was at the table and wanted riding. So
Well, see-
they were the ones with the voice.
Right.
And Chris wrote that legislation that put that in place.
And that's why I think you had mentioned currently there's 400 members in your...
In the ATV club, yes.
Yes. Even 5 years ago, you didn't have that, did you? 400 members?
Our club's 2.5 years old.
There you go.
There wasn't really ATV clubs. There wasn't
Right.
really, you know.
So I think that now you may have a voice that the state needs to listen to.
Well,
it isn't one or two people or a small club of 10.
Oh, no, Jack. So there is an organization called NOVA, New Hampshire Off-Vehicle Highway Recreational Association or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we are club number 18. So there's only, I think, 18 or 19 clubs total in the state, ATV clubs. Unlike snowmobiles, there's 110 or 11 or 12 of them,
Yeah.
right? Unlike that, right? And there's a huge riding community. One of the things about the park is that the park rides ATVs on the snowmobile trails in the winter. The park does not close down until mud season. You know, so that's why so it's a longer season for them. Obviously, we're not saying that we want them to come out of the park and ride the trails in the winter, come into town in the wintertime, because we had talked about closing the trail down from mud season, from December 15th to mud season, which is May 23rd. So, we're just looking at that. But
Right.
But it takes almost an act of Congress to get the ATV get the rail bed open to ATVs.
Well-
So it hasn't yet happened anywhere in the state. Anywhere. So
I thought you told us that, James said that there's...
There is rail beds that are open to ATVs, but they weren't purchased with certain monies. So those rules don't apply to them, right? So it's a little different in some trail systems that are around them.
I just think that being so new, 2.5 years, and you've already grown to 400, I just think that we may have a shot, because I don't think it was ever pushed that high by a large number of people before.
That'd be great if, like I said, I hear what you're saying.
And I'm trying,
I'm not in favor
we're
of...
behind you trying this, because, I've told you that I really like the idea of the club.
Well, I tell you, one of the things that the club's just got a grant from the Trails Bureau, the state of New Hampshire, for over $15,000 to work in Pisgah State Park. And of that $15,000, the park will pay for all materials, but the ATV club's got to pay 40% of all the labor, machinery, equipment costs, and everything like that. So our ATV club is paying to work in the park. We're paying money to maintain the trail systems and the roads in the state park.
Yeah.
Okay? So you think about that for a minute, right?
Yeah.
It's a state park. But there's monies available. The park doesn't have the resources. They don't want to put the money in there or the manpower to fix any roads or do anything. That's why we're there, because it's our park. We want to take advantage of it. There's a lot of people that like to ride, right, from all over the country in this park, right? So, granted, there's been a fatality this past week in a very serious accident just recently on top of that, but that has nothing to do with us getting on the town roads, so. But, we're, as an organization and as members, we're spending our own money in the state park to make the trails better. Last year it was $15,000. No, not this year's $15,000. Last year it was $12,000 we spent on fixing the South Link Trail. And we're using local contractors and everything to make it better. So, So anyways, but I'll work with Carrie and get you guys work on some questions
Yep.
that you think you'd want to ask, and I'll make arrangements to get Chris to come and talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
All
that's the first thing that we need to do before we open up town roads is let's try it anyways.
Okay.
See if we can't get a
That's
route
fair.
from here to the parking lot.
That's fair. All right, I'll let you have your meeting. Thank you.
Thank
Carrie,
you.
I'll call you later.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dean. All right, we're running about 6 minutes late here, but we have another public hearing scheduled now. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Winchester Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 5th at 7 o'clock in the Winchester Town Hall for the purpose of adopting a social media policy. I will entertain a motion to enter into the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. We are now in the public hearing. What we have before us is two different drafts of a social media policy, one that Carrie worked on and one that Southwest Regional Planning Commission drafted for us. And theirs goes in pretty in depth with a lot of things, with everything that we need, that I believe we need covered. Did anybody from the board have any questions on either of these two policies?
So one of the things that I had a question about, I mean, I know the Red Committee already posts about, music in the park and the farmer's market. I just wanted to make sure that they would be included as given permission to post events and stuff like that that's going on at the farmer's market and music and everything else that the
Well,
Red
the
Committee's
way
doing.
the way we have this is that the town administrator would be the overseer of, I'll use Facebook as an example.
Right.
So create a town Facebook page. The town administrator is the overseer. She will be reaching out to other people to assist her, but she is this one solely responsible for everything that's on the page. No other questions from the board? Does anybody from the public have questions on either of these?
So, I'm going to start off by saying that we could either, I have pages of edits for this, pages and pages of edits. I feel that it's lacking. It doesn't protect the actual employees of the town or elected officials or volunteers.
It
Right
doesn't
now,
do what to the employees?
it doesn't protect them. Okay?
How does it not protect them?
We'll get into that in a second.
This policy basically says that we can have a Facebook page that's going to allow no commenting. It's going to be for information only so that we can get word out to people when there's road closures, trees down,
Right.
events going on.
Right, but it still does not protect the employee for their personal pages and for administrative access, as well as what are any consequences to if somebody happens to go rogue. So we could go over this all.
Well, there's no commenting or anything, so nobody can go rogue. Literally, the town administrator is the only one with access to the page. Everybody can view
but it also states or people that she appoints.
Right.
Right, so that does not protect elected officials, volunteers, people that she appoints, or town employees, or anybody like the Red Committee that wants to post on these pages.
Anything that, like I just stated, anything like the Red Committee would want to post, they would have to send to the town administrator for the town administrator to review and post.
Okay, that's fine. My next question is, the town has an employee manual for its employees, correct?
Right.
Right, does that manual have a line item for communications and social media?
Does it have a policy in it?
Yes.
No, that's why we're trying to adopt something now.
That's separate from what's in an employee manual, though, so that should be the first step.
No, this is part of the employee policy.
No, this is a town policy. This is not part of the employee manual.
Well, if you read either the town manual or the employee policy, both of them state
I
right in it.
could not get access to the employee policy, the employee manual of the town, so I can't speak to that, but you just stated that it does not,
Both,
the employee manual does not have that item on it.
it doesn't have anything in there about, well, the only thing that's in the employee policy, the employee manual about social media is that while they're on the clock, they're not allowed to be on social media.
Okay, so that should be extended to protect our employees of the town for this policy. And I mean, I could go over this with you. I'll sit down and we could go over all of this right now. Or we could form a breakout committee like we should have had before this was trying to be passed, to come together and talk about it more. Or I could sit here and go over it.
Well, that's why we had Southwest Regional Planning and their legal team write a policy for us.
Okay, it's extremely lacking, and it does not protect our employees or our elected officials.
I still don't get how it's not
Protect
protecting.
them from what?
Do you want to go over it? We could go over it line by line.
Look, very quickly, Dennis, what,
Sorry,
Oh.
Dennis. Natalie Quevedo, 112 Ashwellet Street. Thank you, Dennis.
I mean, honestly, I don't think it needs to be as complicated as it,
It's not about it being complicated. It's about just making sure that, I've looked at numerous other towns' social media policies, and ours is so lacking. It does not encompass a lot. Even the parts about commenting and what people can comment under it, which you just stated that nobody else can comment, there's clearly a whole section that states that people can comment on these posts.
if,
I looked at Fishkill, Acton, a couple other ones in New Hampshire. I looked at about 30 other towns. They have their own yes. Yes. We have our own system. Right, but our system, for what you guys put together, does not protect our employees, our elected officials.
if commenting is ever turned on anything, not even my own personal Facebook page, obviously people can comment. And as we all know, we've seen it in the press a million times, it's freedom of speech. You can't.
That's not what I'm referring to at all. I'm not referring
what
to
we're-
your personal Facebook page at all.
What our plan is, and what this policy is talking about, is that that we want to have an information-only Facebook page to get information out to residents so that they know everything that's going on, with no commenting allowed on it. There is a section in the policy that does talk about commenting.
Correct.
Only because, as it's been stated, like with the computers that I've been trying to buy, we don't know that this board's going to be the same board in 5 years.
Correct.
So we made sure the policy covers, if later down the road they decide to turn on commenting, at least there's something in the policy about commenting.
Okay, so we can,
Like-
I agree with you on that, but then we can go through the changes that I have to protect people down the line that may or may not be commenting, to protect
Name off
its
a couple
employees.
changes real quick, just so we can hear what you have in mind.
We could definitely start with the beginning, your purpose statement. I added to after Winchester employees. It should also include elected officials, volunteers, and other authorized affiliated persons and organizations that use the town's electronic computer resources to access social media websites and engage in social networking for town purposes. You do not have a content section. You don't have an intent written in there. You left out sex, sexual orientation, or disability in under item C. You did not include content appearing to be a spam, also in things that cannot be posted. Hyperlinks or materials not directly related to the discussion, also not included in that. Private personal information offered without express content, that's also not in there. There's a ton. And
A lot of that's already law.
it's not.
It is.
But okay,
HIPAA
so are you
Act- the HIPAA
familiar? Are
Act
you
said-
familiar with the movement to secede New Hampshire from the federal government?
Am I familiar with? I know of it, but I'm not
Okay,
familiar
so
with it.
say that were to happen, you're now discriminating against people with disabilities because it's not in our town bylaw.
Well, if the state changes laws, we can't,
Exactly.
Our
You can,
bylaws-
as a town, yes, you can.
right.
Okay, so let me continue. Ownership, for example, all town, this is not included in your thing here that you have. All town designated accounts are considered the property of the town and as such do not transfer to the town administrator if the town administrator terminates employment with the town or no longer serves in a capacity consistent with social media account management with the town. That protects Carrie. That's not in your policy.
The policy does state that the town administrator is the sole overseer.
But it does not protect her if she terminates her employment.
If she terminates her employment, she's no longer the town administrator.
It still needs to be spelled
It
out in the
doesn't,
policy.
it doesn't say Carrie Minor is an overseer. It says the town administrator, whoever holds that position.
Okay, so I get to that further down. Your branding, social media profile pictures to clearly represent the town, either with the official town seal or identify a marker of the town department. And again, I am not attacking you guys. I'm just trying to make this better. That's all. I don't want somebody to find a loophole who's in another department in town to come in and take over a town website. Carrie has a hard enough job as it is. It's a part-time, if not a full-time job to try and manage these things, along with our website. I am not trying to attack you. I am just trying to make it better.
Sounds to me like you're trying to bring other town policies into Winchester.
No, definitely not. I'm trying to help the town of Winchester by bringing us into the year 2020. I mean, we could talk about department-specific accounts, which is also not brought out in there. Right now, you're just specifying the town administrator has the sole responsibility, and she can now bring on other people to work on, like, say, the ambulance or the police department account. There's nothing in your policy that gives them any guidance as to what they can or cannot post, besides a few things that I
No,
added to.
the policy states that if they have anything, they bring it to Carrie. Carrie puts it on.
Right, that's a part-time job. She is so overloaded as it is to begin with. It also doesn't state what can be posted, and I spelt that out as well. You guys have, oh, where is it? And I'm happy to provide you guys with an electronic, or Jack, I printed out one for you, and one for you, Cheney, too, and one for you, you guys that don't use the computers. I printed some out for you. So, use by employees, volunteers, and elected officials. 1. Employees, volunteers, and elected officials may use the town's social media sites to communicate the following. A. Announcements about departmental or community items of interest. B. Emergency notifications. C. Highlighting town events and activities. D. Provision of historical and/or current information relative to the department or town. E. Highlight employees who have done good work in the community. F. To direct the public to content on www.winchester-newhampshire.gov. G. Promotion of public meetings. Social media should not be used. You guys had this to be to fulfill public meeting legal requirements specified under RSA 91-A. H. Municipal job opportunities, which you guys have. I. News about municipal operations and services. J. Construction and road closure notifications, which you guys had. I just added a couple in the beginning of acceptable things that people can post. 2. Employees who have been approved by the town administrator to communicate through the town's social media sites shall also adhere to the following. A. Employees, volunteers, or elected officials shall conduct themselves at all times at a professional representation of the town and in accordance with the town policies. B. Any employee, volunteer, or elected official authorized to post information shall review, be familiar with, and comply with this policy. Again, this is all stuff that's not in the policy. C. An employee, volunteer, or elected official authorized to post information shall not express his or her own personal views or concerns through such postings, postings shall only reflect information from the town, which is also not in the policy.
It's not in the policy because none of those people have permission to use, by this policy, none of those people have permission to post, comment, do anything on the,
No, it says that, and I could point that out to where it says that Kerry can appoint people to do so. So is Kerry going to post for the ambulance, the fire department, and the police department?
the police department already has their own page.
Exactly, but that should fall under the social media policy, correct?
They have their own policy.
Do they?
Yeah,
I've never seen it. Can I get a copy of that?
I don't have it with me.
Okay, can somebody please send me a copy of that? Because I've never seen that.
Yeah, they have their own policy. That's why they were
Okay,
able to
but
create
they
it.
are part of the town, correct? The
Correct.
taxpayers pay for that.
Correct.
Should that not fall under the town's social media policy?
It would at this point once we
Okay, so
adopt
then
one.
they can now post based off this policy, which is lacking what they can post. Again, not trying to give you guys a hard time, just trying to
Well-
help you out.
No, you are trying to give us a hard time. You're standing up here, oh, you didn't do this, this, and this, but I'm not trying to give you a hard time.
Yeah, I'm
you
trying to
didn't
help.
do nothing.
I'm not on the select board. I spent
We-
hours doing this.
We've been on this for
Okay.
2 years.
I spent hours doing
That's
this.
why we had, like I said, Southwest
Okay.
Regional Planning.
That's great. I'm happy that you guys had help. I'm just letting
They
you
wrote
know
this.
that it's lacking.
Our lawyer reviewed
what
it.
it has.
Our lawyer was fine with it.
It does not protect our town employees. It does not protect elected officials. It does not protect department heads.
All right, well, if you'd like to email us.
I'd be happy to.
Your list
Yeah.
there.
I'd be happy to.
I'll review it.
I'm also going to recommend that you guys, again, form a breakout committee of each department that's going to post on social media. The fire department, the police department, the select board, or the town as a whole. Form a committee for that, and then bring in people who want to be able to help. It's not, again, just want to try and help, and this is lacking, and does not protect our employees.
Okay, well,
Thank
like I
you.
said, email those. I'll definitely review them. Make sure you state your name and address.
Todd Kalansky, 9 Keene Road. I don't understand what the harm is in having a Facebook page that just tells you what's going on in the town with no commenting. If you can't trust our town administrator to put a picture on there and say, hey, the road's closed, if you can't trust our elected fire chief, our police chief, the head of ambulance to post things on there to say, hey, this is going on, and not have commenting, there's an issue. These people were voted in by the town. You ought to trust the people.
That microphone should tip down a little bit for you, too.
Yeah, I know. I can project though. Just one question because.
Oh, name and address, sorry.
I'm Jennifer Rydell, 19 Broadbrook Road. And yeah, actually, just to go back to Natalie's point that, you know, we should be able to trust the fire chief, police chief, the ambulance to manage their own page. The way that this policy is written, and as you have explained it to us, they have to then send their posts to Carrie, and then Carrie can approve it and put it on.
Right.
So now you're not trusting the police chief to post his own stuff. You're telling
No,
him
we
to
are,
send-
no, you're twisting my words. I didn't say I don't trust them to post their own stuff.
No, you told me. You
I
told us that
I
they have to send it
said,
to
what I
Carrie.
said was that the town administrator would be the only one with access to post on the page, and it had nothing to do with trust. So that word didn't come out of my mouth.
That is true, but they also don't have the power to post on their own pages. according
No,
to
it's
this
easier,
policy.
it's easier to maintain a page if there's one person.
It's easier
doing
to
the
maintain
work.
one page if there's one person. but
Right,
if
that's what
there's
we're talking
seven
about.
pages-
No, we're talking about having one page here. This is for one page for the town of Winchester.
But it also includes all the departments. It says right on there, it includes all the town departments.
Right.
So technically, Thayer Library, we will now have to take our Facebook webpage and run it through Carrie. anytime we need to make any changes.
No, you can still run your own page as long as
But we
it,
would have to ask Carrie, according to the policy,
No.
to have the
No.
permission to do that.
No,
No?
no.
How?
Their library, Conant Library, the town owns a building. The Board of Trustees of those two libraries are in charge of the content and therefore whatever your social media includes that. We only own the buildings.
Okay, so then we'll just go back to the police and fire, because still, according to this policy, any town department needs to run their posts through Carrie. It doesn't say on here that they can run their own department's site themselves. It says that the town administrator is responsible for all town pages. So unless the fire department has a Friends of the Fire Department that's going to now post all of the fire department events, not associated with the fire department itself, anything that the fire department would want to post, they have to post through Carrie.
yeah,
That's how your policy is written.
right.
So if I am on the fire department, I need to put an emergency post, I have to go to Carrie.
Yeah, I mean, any emergency post would be a road closure, a water main break, anything like that. The Carrie's already been being notified about, and she's already making 100 phone calls to let everybody else know about, even on her time off and days off and everything else.
So Carrie's okay with being on 24/7 on call for this job?
It states
addition?
9 to
That's
5
part
in
of
the
the,
policy.
that part of it's part of the job description already.
So
And any emergencies that happen even after hours, they contact Carrie, and Carrie contacts us or the water department for water main breaks or whoever has to be contacted.
But now she has to add social media to that. Instead of having the person who currently now is on the scene who can, make those posts from their cell phone, no, they have to call Carrie first.
Correct,
And Carrie has to say, okay, sure, yeah, you can do that.
correct.
How is that efficient and timely way to get out information?
It's a lot more efficient and timely than what we have right now.
Where somebody from the fire department or police department can put a post right out.
Right, which right
Without
now we
having to
don't.
go to Carrie.
Which right now we can't. We don't have it right now.
Oh, but you said the police department already has.
Yeah, the
their
police
own account.
department has a page, yes.
So they're already posting things without asking Carrie.
Right. Theirs is
So
managed.
adding another step makes it more efficient. That's the part.
No,
where I
you're
get stuck.
you're twisting my words completely.
No.
Yeah, you
Adding
are.
another step to the process.
No.
We're
The
trying to
other-
get one person responsible. Period.
The other question I had, there were two versions that I was looking at. So there's one that's on our town
Letterhead.
letterhead, yes, and the other one's from the regional commission.
Southwest Regional Planning.
Okay. Which one is going to be the final? Because there is a huge difference, and this does go back to another one of Natalie's big, huge points, which is a huge sticking point for me. Which one do you plan to use?
I like the one from Southwest Regional Planning.
That's a great answer, because Southwest Regional Planning actually has written into their policy that they are protecting race, color,
Yeah.
religion. They have that. We do not.
The one,
Not inside.
the one on our letterhead that Carrie was working on writing is Swansea's social media policy.
Then Swansea is missing 3 categories from the New Hampshire protected classes and 3 categories at least from the federal classes.
Right.
So it's not
That's-
covering everyone.
That's a Swansea issue, not us.
So then we cannot accept that language. We need to
Right.
accept the language that's from the planning commission.
Right.
Planning commission.
Right. And I'm like I told you, I was leaning towards a motion for the one written by Southwest Regional Planning.
Awesome. And I would definitely like to make sure that Area C on comments, we cannot use ours. It does not include enough classes that are protected.
Thank you.
I want to remind, Todd Klansky, 9 Keene Road again. I want to remind people, and I think most people know, if you're part of a group and you want to post something on that post, you can, but it goes, before it actually goes into public's eyes, it goes to the administrator. So you're not making a phone call to the administrator. They get a notification saying, oh, somebody else wants to post. They read it. Yep, okay, done. It's not a phone call in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you got to really think of the whole thing. Yes, if roads close at 2 o'clock in the morning, are you worried about calling up and putting something down right then? No. Will it get done? Yes. It's not a matter of phone call, waking up Carrie, disturbing Carrie, whatever. You put it on the site. The administrator looks at it, reviews it, and then hits a button to say, yeah, okay, it's good for public. It's not a big deal.
It's not like it happens every day, all times a day.
Lindsay Pickard, 96 Richmond Road. There are 23 departments listed on your website that fall under the town, libraries included, Jack. So is this policy applicable for all 23?
All town departments, yes.
Well, the police is listed there. You indicated that they have their own social media policy, but unfortunately that's not available on your website. Is that available someplace else?
I'm not sure where it's at. I've read it, but I don't know where it's listed at. I can find out for you.
And so then I go back to my first question. Will this social media policy cover all 23 departments that are listed for the town?
It covers all town departments, yes.
So the police department and EMS and the fire department would stop posting anything until it was cleared by the town administrator?
I believe that's what the way the policy's written.
So will you be reversing the police's separate policy?
No, we'd probably have to look into that further after.
And do you know if any of the other 23 departments have a separate social media policy that we could review?
The only other one I know of is the fire department. I know the highway and water don't have one. I'm not sure, like Jack said, the libraries aren't town run, so.
Well, that's confusing then, because if they're on their website as a town department, then it's confusing to know which ones are or aren't.
Well, they're elected officials that run the libraries.
Will that be outlined in your social media policy as an opportunity? Maybe you want to actually outline which departments fall under that policy? Because you said all, but then you said...
All town departments. Yeah, the libraries are not town departments. There's elected officials, just like the school's not a town department. There's elected officials that run the school.
Right, but we're not listed under town departments on your website.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I believe it's listed under community, not under town.
I mean, my
Libraries
internet's just a touch
and-
slow. Departments, assessing in town, building permits and inspection, cemetery, code enforcement, EMS ambulance, emergency preparedness, executive department, I'm assuming that's you.
Yeah.
Finance, human resource, fire department, health, highway, land use, libraries, plural, police, selectmen, sewer, town clerk, transfer, trustees, voters, water department, welfare, zoning. So I'm just pointing out that if that policy is for all, this is your all. If this isn't your all, it should be outlined differently in that policy. And as a point of reference, and I apologize because the school does do policies a little differently. We have a subcommittee. The subcommittee policy meets. We review all of our policies or the ones that need to be reviewed. And as a subcommittee, we bring to our board the recommendation for the policy. Is that not how the select board works through similar situations?
No,
This is an education point for me.
We do it multiple different ways. A lot of times we've had subcommittees work on different things. This policy here, we reached out to quite a few different people. Like I said, we've been working on this for 2 years. This has been something we've been plugging away at for 2 years.
And is that something that you discuss, then you bring back to the full board? Because that's definitely something that I have found lacking in your minutes, is any kind of summary of what's happening in your work sessions.
Well, we didn't have any work sessions. Any discussion on the personnel policy has been during our regular meetings. We haven't had any work sessions on the personnel policy.
I'm sorry, you mean social media policy? That's
yeah.
okay, I don't want to get us
Yeah.
confused either.
No, the social media policy, we've had no work sessions on. All the discussions we've had on it have been right here during regular meetings, and Carrie worked on the one that she was working on for us that is honestly, most of it is Swansea's that they have. I know multiple towns have different policies that list different things on each one. I mean, if we went through every town's policy and wrote one that would fit every town, it would
So
probably
does
be
the-
30 pages long.
You folks are part of like a municipality, so for instance, the New Hampshire School Board Association
Yeah,
routinely monitors different policies that are coming down from the state of New Hampshire, recommends to every board, here are the policies that you might want to review and adopt.
right.
Does the municipality service not also offer something similar?
I believe they do.
I mean, I could reach out to them and.
I'm just wondering if you're, if,
We had Southwest write one up for us.
yeah, I definitely agree with Jennifer. The first of the two policies appeared more succinct, and for somebody who's very format oriented, seemed to outline it a little more specifically. And then my first suggestion still stands. If the policy is for all departments, either outline all departments or clearly define on your webpage what you're considering a department of the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything? Yep.
I just want to go back to when you guys were talking about Carrie Ken and
She already stated her name. She don't have to a second time.
Natalie Caveda, 112 Ashwila Street. I just wanted to go back about, you guys said that Carrie automatically is working. It's in your contract, I don't know, Carrie, 24 hours a day. But the policy states that social media will only be conducted during business hours of 9 to 5. So again, that's something else that needs to be addressed in that policy. So if a water main were to happen at, 10 o'clock or 6 o'clock, 5:05 on a weekday, Carrie, as outlined in this policy, would not be able to post about it because it states only business hours.
Nothing else from the public? I will entertain a motion to recess the public hearing for, say, 3 weeks.
Why do we need to recess it then?
Unless somebody else
Second.
wants to close it and make a motion on something, but I was going to recess it to review information, and
I'll second the motion to recess.
I think we should make a motion to adopt one of the policies.
well, you can't make a motion yet. I've got a motion to recess the public hearing. I made the motion and Gloria seconded it, just in case you didn't get that.
And the reasoning for that?
For recessing?
Yeah,
To
just to go over some of the
review
stuff.
information and maybe reach out to the municipal association
Refine it a little bit.
and see if we can get a better definition from them. I'm thinking, Carrie, you think 3 weeks is long enough, or?
Yep.
Okay. So that's my motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes, was that 4-1? I think so.
Yeah.
I have one question. Does she care if we give a copy of this to Southwestern so they can look at it? They wrote that.
Oh, it's,
Maybe they want to incorporate some of this in there too.
yeah, I mean, we can attach that when we reach out to them.
Ask them to call if it's all
As
right.
long as you CC me on the email, you could use, yes, my work.
Because they write them up for all the towns. It's not
Yeah,
Yeah.
so long as you CC me on the email, you could use my work.
All right, James,
Dennis.
oh, yeah, Dennis is on the agenda still too, but, James, did you happen to bring out all those bids
I didn't, no.
No, I forgot I'm been there too.
Well, we can, you want to do
no.
them all, you want to?
Yeah. Dennis, you're next. I'm gonna let you start speaking. I just gotta run in the office and grab something we forgot in there real quick. But you can go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Murphy, Town Moderator. In front of you, there is, on the first page, there is the school gymnasium. And it is not the scale, but it is what we're trying to do to keep social distancing and what have you for the COVID-19 pandemic. When you first come in, you're going to hit the ballot clerks. We want 5. That's what we're looking for. And then you can go to your voting booths, and everything is going to be, the tables are in the front where they'll have voting curtains so you can have privacy if you want to sit down. And maybe some more tables. I don't know exactly what we have, but we will have the state minimum for the number of registered voters. Then they'll go through the AccuVote, and they'll exit. The setup will be done by by Henry Audette, and the materials will be brought over by the Highway Department, and they'll be charged back to the COVID-19 fund. On the second page, the hallway's 10 feet wide. So if you allow 2 feet for people to pass on either extreme of where the handrails are, you'll have 6 feet in between the two. And those will be marked off with cones and with tape to go into the gym and to leave the gym. Then on page 3, you'll see that at the bottom is the school, you have the curb, you have the fire lane, you have the pickup and drop off, you get the through lane for people traveling through the school, which is basically a road. Then you have the parking. The chief, on the last page, there is a carport of some sort, and depending upon whether or not I can get COVID-19 funds to pay for it, what I do. If we get a 10 by 10, I can get it for about $120, probably plus the shipping. If they don't want to do that, I can get the 10 by 20 for $150, and then I can sell it to one of the Kiwanis clubs that need it. In this case, it would come to Northampton, Mass. So it wouldn't cost the town anything to be able to get to use it. It's going to have to be a town decision. I can't, on those funds. But anyways, and I get permission from Barry to place that. This is for inclement weather, because we will have some sort of, it's not really curbside voting, it's temporary handicapped. That usually, and it's been in the books for a long time as an RSA, that is for people who, let's say on Monday, they broke their leg, they just get these crutches, and they come into a voting place, they're not used to it, they can trip and fall, what have you. They can vote from their car using an absentee ballot. And there's a few things that are really, that I can't do, that needs to be done by the Board of Selectmen. The posted of notice of a change of voting place. It's supposed to be 100 days from the election. So basically, it's supposed to be 100 days before September 8th. That's not going to happen. The Secretary of State's office is giving us some leeway on this, but they told me post it as soon as possible. We just got permission last month, I want to say the 16th, to even use the school for voting. And it had to be passed by the school board. And so, Carrie, do you want a note on that, or want me to send you an email?
No.
Okay. Then the other thing is that the supervisors of the checklist especially are not the most youngest group that we have in town. We just had one that just had open heart surgery, a quadruple bypass not too long ago. She's probably not going to be here. We have others that are very worried about the COVID-19, and the Board of Selectmen can mandate that on election day, they must wear a mask. If they don't wear a mask, they can vote outside in the drive-through or the curbside voting as their mechanism of voting. So we're not denying them the right to vote. We're just saying you can't come into the gymnasium and vote. You want to vote, you can go. You have to do it outside. And also, I left a note with the police department. We would like to have the police department transport both the cast and uncast ballots to and from the town hall. Okay, this way it's not in my personal car, it's not in someone else's car, and no one can say, where do these ballots come from? We would like to have the police department do both for us. This is a safety mechanism. Also, per RSA, the age of 17 on election day. So if your 17th birthday is on September 8th, they can work as a sworn official, Board of Selectmen, clerk, ballot clerk, a town assistant clerk, a supervisor, a moderator, or other election officials. And it's a good opportunity maybe for some seniors to get involved with local politics if their parents will permit it, because of the COVID-19. Also, on the 14th of August, and Kerry knows this, and I don't know if she's relayed it to you yet, we have to go pick up all our PPE equipment. And that will be at the highway department on Marlborough Street in Keene. And if we don't have a pickup truck, I can put this stuff in my car. I'll probably have to make 2 or 3 trips.
How much is it?
What?
How much stuff is it?
I don't know. The Secretary of State's office and the Department of Emergency Management and everybody else is saying you need a pickup truck.
Okay, I got one. I'll go with it.
Okay, so, and Jim and I are the 2 contacts for that, only because for ease.
Let me know and I'll go with it.
Okay, thank you. The other thing we'd like to do, given that we already have had processed almost 100 absentee ballot applications, which is way more than our normal that we normally do, even at the last general election back in 2016. I would like to open up the polls. The processing of absentee ballots only. That means running my zero tape, having people there, having the police there, a member of the Board of Selectmen, or their designate, and I'm going to need a ballot clerk. Just process absentee ballots only. This way, we're not processing the day before and leaving a voting machine open overnight. Okay, this is what I'm trying to avoid. At the same time, we can get the vote on time, and when we close the polls, we can start running, hopefully, our tapes and get results.
When would they be processed?
6:30 in the morning, and that's all we'll be processing until 8 o'clock, when it'll be announced that the polls are open for the public.
And where would they be processed? At a designated area in the school?
Right where we normally do it.
Right at the poll,
Right at the poll place. So if you look at on page 1, the ballot clerk, so that the ballots will go to the ballot clerk to be checked off.
Okay.
They'll be opened up on the table, and then after they're opened up on the table, they would be then processed through the AccuVote machine and placed in, and we'll have the box, because bent ballots jam the machine constantly. Everybody, if you don't know that, they do. Those are the few of the things that I know now. There's more coming. There's a Zoom meeting at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning with the Secretary of State's office for moderators and town clerks. If you guys have any questions for me.
So if somebody shows up like they normally would do the day of the election, expecting to come into the building and get their ballot, and they did not get an absentee ballot, and they want a ballot,
They'll be able to, yes, they'll be able to
So they
do
can-
the same day registration like we normally have done in the past.
What if they're, I mean, what if they're already registered, and, like, because you were talking about, you know, the curbside for absentee ballots?
Right. So what would happen if you curbside? I cannot take a ballot that's given to me by the Secretary of State's office that's already accounted for. That cannot leave the polling area. Okay. So once the
So if somebody shows up and they want to do curbside,
They
but
get
they
in-
haven't gotten an absentee ballot,
we will get their name. They'll have an envelope all set up for them, and they sign it like they normally would do for an absentee ballot.
Okay.
I take it out to the vehicle, to the voter. They would then do what they normally would do for an absentee ballot. Now, normally, absentee ballots are done until 5 o'clock, okay, that we're processing. If they're doing
So
the
they can-
curbside, that's 7
so they
o'clock
can literally get an absentee ballot that day?
that day.
Okay.
And up until 6:59, before the polls close, they can get an absentee, they can get a ballot. And if they're in line, obviously, we'll put a stop at the end of the line, and they will all have the right to vote, even though it's going past the 7 o'clock hour.
The also question I have is regarding the carport canopies. You were talking about selling them possibly to the Kiwanis. Wouldn't we want to hold on to them for November or March, or we don't know how long this is going to last?
Right. I would, if I can get the PPE money, I'll just do the 10 by 10. If I can't get the PPE money, I'm going to do the 10 by 20 and be able to sell it and use it for September and November, but be able to sell it afterwards so I can, so I'm not losing a lot of money out of the deal, because there was question whether or not the town even want to pay for it because of the limited funds that we have for COVID or the CARES account. I don't know exactly technically what it's called.
Would that be
but-
covered under that grant?
Elections are, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look into.
Yeah, check into it.
The details.
Both Amy and Ricky were questioning me on it, and I said, "The heck with it! I'll just do this on my own."
No, we'll let Kerry look into it and see if it's something that can be covered under that grant. If so, then
Yeah, well, they were worried because that grant has to be used for a whole bunch of other stuff too.
right.
And in this way, it would, I'm looking at it in one respect, it's not costing the town any money at all.
Well, there's also over $100,000 coming into Winchester, so it's
I understand that.
$100, $200 for a tent is not a big deal.
I'm just relaying the news that I got from the ladies upstairs.
Okay.
Dennis, I have a question. You have concerns about having enough ballot clerks.
That's correct.
All right. You had stated that if someone didn't want to have a mask, they would have to stay outside and do it. On page 3, are you going to have any ballot clerks set up outside?
No.
So
we cannot have them set.
So how are you having people checked off if they don't want to wear masks?
Okay, if they want to wear a mask, they go back out to their vehicle. They can either wait underneath the tent in line and they can just stay there.
Yeah.
My cell number will be posted like it was in March. If you remember, at the bottom of the ramp there, I had my cell phone posted. They will call me, and no one did call me the last cycle at all. They will call me. I will then start the ball rolling so they can get the absentee ballot out to their vehicle, or in person if they want to. It's up to them.
All right. All right.
Now, to post the change of the polling place, we don't need to take any action on that, right? You can just post it.
Correct. I don't think so.
But yeah, I don't know technically whether or not you have to
Right.
vote on it, because you are changing the polling place. And in my humble opinion, I would vote on it, even if it's just a say we voted on it, and that can go to get posted, because we need to post that as soon as possible. And the day of elections, post it out front that the polling place is at the school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, absentee ballots that are still in the mail, okay, they will be processed through the town clerk downstairs. Whatever time the town clerk works, if he's open till 5 o'clock, as he probably should be, he can then send them up to the school anytime after that, because they've been received by the town clerk by 5 o'clock, so that they will process, they will be counted.
Yep.
All right, even though I may not get the ballots till 6 or 6:15 or whatever it is. I just want to make that clear for everybody, because we are all in uncharted territory. Will there be mistakes made during this voting thing? I can guarantee you that there probably will be. We will learn from them. So when it comes to November, the general election, we'll have this election to use as a learning experience.
Right. Lindsay, the school board already voted to allow the school to be used for voting? We did. Okay. Okay.
And that's part of the reason why this long delay.
Right,
because
right.
we had to get permission.
I just wanted to make sure that that was finalized before I make a motion to move the polling place to somewhere that already hasn't approved it. Yeah.
And just so you know that the school is changed, my hat's off to the school committee. They changed their calendar.
Yeah.
Early enough they could do that, so that the school is going to be closed September 8th, and the school is going to be closed November 3rd. So, and we're going to make sure that we also have barriers, so people can't walk the corridors of the school inadvertently.
Right.
Or on purpose.
Right.
We'll
Right.
stop them. You can't stop a dishonest person. We'll stop an honest person.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to change the polling place for the September and November elections to the Winchester School.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. And Carrie, you'll work on getting that posted?
Thanks, Dennis.
Do you have any other questions for me?
No. I don't think the board's going to have a problem. I think we're all fine. I'm sure we're all fine with letting the police department transport the ballots for you to and from the town hall. Well, Carrie, get Mike a message, but I know you'll be in contact with Mike also.
Yes.
But just let him know that we're fine with that.
We are also having a police officer be there first thing in the morning when we run our zero tape, even though none of the officers live in the town. They can still observe any wrongdoing done by anybody, because they'll be there.
Right. I would also like to make a motion that for the September and November elections that